What's up, guys? Welcome back from the LG Studios here in New York City. You're currently watching Day 2 of the Challenger League. Of course, round of 32 just finished up of the Premier League. The Challenger League main goal is, all right, who's going to get back into the Premier League? There's lots of opportunities to do so. So you'll definitely see some of the players you're watching today eventually get to the Premier League. I bet it's very small odds that one of these guys won't make it. But we just saw, of course, Muslim take the 2-1 over Maker. What'd you think of that result, mister?
It was some very interesting games. You know, I really thought the Muslim would win.
Yeah.
But especially in the second and third, actually in all three games, it was very tense. That third game there, you know, if he didn't notice that attack coming and didn't pull back those medevacs to defend that first attack, he would have been in trouble. But as it is, Hellbats are a very good way to defend Marine tank aggression. He was able to win that third game very convincingly.
Yep, of course you see the lineup for the rest of the day. Next up, llusion, Macsed, the minigun Ian, and then Killer Top. Well, let's start talking about llusion versus Macsed. It's going to be a PvT. And we'll start off with llusion, of course. llusion, one of those players, 17 years of age on Team Mouse Sports. He used to be on Quantic Gaming. He played at the World Championships in Shanghai. Spent some time in the Startail House. So and also the Quantic Pro House in the States. So has that experience in that pro house environment.
That's right, a very experienced player, insane multitasker. He really plays a lot like some of the Koreans, especially Gumiho. And he's up against a very unique Protoss player in Macsed.
Yes.
Macsed, one of the best players from China. In fact, Macsed's really the only Chinese player with an extensive list of accomplishments. He's been around since the Warcraft 3 days. He's competed in several tournaments in Southeast Asia and China area, and he's pretty much done very well every single tournament he's played. So extremely experienced RTS veteran, and he has a very unique style of Protoss. We've been watching some of his games in the Challenger Division, and I've seen some of his games in some past tournaments, and he does some crazy builds, man.
It's one of those mysteries. You know, we have no idea how, you know, what the metagame is like among the Chinese, you know, community. Of course, we're going to see a Taiwanese player as well today. And, you know, it should be interesting to see what Macsed brings to the table. It's going to be Protoss versus Terran, a very exciting matchups these days. And I'm really looking forward to these matches. Of course, we're currently live. Guys, remember to hashtag WCS on Twitter. And in the breaks, I don't know if y'all have noticed, but we have a little a scroller that shows some tweets that you guys are doing. So keep doing that and get involved with the community. And it looks like players are ready. I'm hitting the start game button, Nick.
So the first map, Aklon Waste, of course, a very macro-focused map.
Right.
And this is a map that it can be tricky against drops, and it can bounce between your third and your main very easily with medevacs. So sometimes Protoss players opt to open with air here. And Macsed is a player I've definitely seen him use Phoenixes and Oracles before against Terran, so it's not something he's afraid of doing. As this game goes on, of course, Protoss starts to take 4 and 5 bases, and the corner bases are actually pretty difficult for Terran to defend.
All right, here we are in game number 1. In the top left-hand location, we have the red Terran player hailing from the United States of America, currently on Team Mouse Sports. He is llusion. Of course, llusion was 3rd place in his Premier League group involving Alicia, Moonglade, and Maker. That match versus Moonglade, one of the better ones that I've seen.
It's absolutely an amazing match there.
llusion was so close to getting out of that group.
He was. He had a rematch versus Moonglade to see who would get out, and Moonglade won the rematch.
Yep.
But it was all their games in both series were actually great. llusion is one of those guys who it's always fun to watch him play.
And of course, his opponent in the bottom right-hand location, the blue Protoss player, perhaps shrouded in a little bit of mystery, hailing from China. Trying to get a spot into the Premier League by performing well in the Challenger League. He is Macsed.
llusion going gas before barracks, which is not typical. It's not a very standard opening. It means he's going to go that factory very early on. And llusion loves to be very harass and micro-orientated, especially early on. So he's going to be looking to do he's going to try to catch Macsed off guard with a weird timing, like Hellings earlier than you'd think there would be, early Widow Mines. It could even be potentially a Banshee or a very fast Widow Mine drop play. But if he starts to get too many tech buildings before he gets his expansion, it's going to commit him to having to do more and more damage to keep up in the macro game.
Should be interesting to see if he gets a second gas. It'd be a little crazy, but some Terran players do it. Really invest a bunch into the one base aggression to try to break their opponent. But should see the factory going down very soon.
Oh,
reactor.
This is like this could be the apocalypse build where he gets the gas first just to get a bank of gas so you can get a lot of Reapers out. Of course, if you just want a reactor on a barracks, you go barracks first, then gas. Okay, now, you know what? He got the reactor before the factory just so we could get a higher Marine count. I think we're going to see one of those Marine Widowmine pushes.
Right.
And those can be really annoying to a Protoss player. If they hit you before your Nexus is finished, you don't quite have the Nexus Photon Overcharge up. And then the Widowmine gets stuck at the bottom of the ramp, so your ground units can't come down to defend, and then the Marines can be really annoying.
Add-on complete.
I've faced this actually quite a bit before, and I've usually been okay. We'll have to see if Macsed's build gives him the flexibility to keep the units out of his main, and then also defend his natural.
Mothership Core popping out here. Gonna chase that SCV away. Of course, you see some tweets going down at the bottom of the screen there. Tweet hashtag WCS, and you could be famous. Maybe predict who you think is gonna win this match if you don't know what the heck to tweet. But definitely take advantage of that. All right, so starport on the way here from Illusion, and this is a really tricky build here again, as you said before, for Macsed to deal with, because you know we're seeing some Terran players go for that one base aggression, the early aggression against the Mothership Core, and just not being able to get anything done at the front door because of that Photon Overcharge. So what could happen here is Macsed is going to be accumulating energy on that Mothership Core. Illusion can threaten the natural, get that Photon Overcharge deployed, and then jet on into the main base and potentially another Photon Overcharge there, and then you just wait a little bit until Photon Overcharge is gone, and that's a window that you can theoretically get some damage done. So we'll have to see how Illusion does this, but incorporating the medevac so he can have that mobility, so we can decide, all right, do I want to go to the natural or to the main base? And a Stargate is actually being thrown onto the field here.
Oracle coming into play, and
interesting, delayed Oracle.
Yeah, this is a build I've seen a couple players do, but the Oracle, I don't know how valuable it's going to be against this. Of course, detection is going to be very important against these Widowmines, but Illusion is...
Look at the placement of that guy, by the way.
The bunker is in range of the Photon Overcharge, but there's no vision of the bunker, so the Nexus can't shoot it.
Oh.
Isn't that kind of neat? If you send a probe or something out there, that bunker would not get up. And actually, you know, if that bunker gets up and it's still alive for quite a while... Okay, using... Revelation to spot the Widowmine.
Bye-bye, Widowmine.
But the bunker gets up. SCV's got to survive. If the SCV can repair it from behind the bunker, of course, there's no vision.
Macsed needs to kill that SCV right away. Oh, he sees the drop heading into the main. And again, there's two Widowmines here, so he needs that Oracle back home to deal with that. The medevac going into the main base. And we'll have to see how much damage this does. The bunker getting salvaged at the natural.
An Illusion retreating with those Marines. What does Macsed have in the main?
He can't see this. He has no way to see the Widowmines.
He's going to have to wait for a second Oracle. The first one, of course, doesn't have energy anymore. All right. Stalkers have to be so careful.
Gosh, 2 Stalker kills there. 1
3
very
Stalker
low.
kills, yeah. 4 Stalker kills now. Macsed is just, I mean, he's going to survive, but he's taking a lot of damage.
Still no second Oracle being made out of the Stargate, unless I'm missing something.
No, he's not. His Robo is most of the way done now, so... I think there's only going to be one more Widowmine shot before the Observer can get out, as long as he Corona boosts it, or one more from each Widowmine, I should say. But these kills are adding up. So this is like a very gray zone. We're looking at a situation where Illusion delayed his expansion for an insanely long time. Right? He's well far behind as far as the worker production goes. I mean, he's way far behind. I think he's like 5 or 6 less workers than he would want to be relative to how much Macsed has. But, well, he's definitely behind in economy. He's got all this tech already set up, right? He has the starport done. He has Widowmines. Well, not until the works there.
Gosh.
That was pretty brutal, actually.
Up to 9 workers killed.
Yeah.
That was, like, pretty good. That was an okay situation for Macsed, but then he just lost all those probes. It's still not terrible. Like,
so
no player is drastically ahead, I don't think.
Yeah. Macsed's up by 9 probes, which is more than a Protoss is normally up by at this point. But Illusion has 5 production buildings all set up. He's got +1 attack halfway done. Whereas Macsed, you know, he only has 3 warp gates. I mean, he has 5 production buildings too, but the Stargate, actually he's going back into Stargate production. He's building Phoenixes and going for the robotic support base. We could see some Colossi Phoenix usage.
Interesting.
This is something I've seen him do it once or twice before. We saw Hello Kitty use it in the Premier League against Heart.
Yes.
So it is a build that sees some play at the pro level, but it's not particularly common.
Of course, Phoenixes are very useful in dealing with those medevacs if you, you know, potentially patrol them around the edge of your bases to make sure those guys don't do too much damage.
This is definitely, if you're going to do Phoenix Colossi, Aklon Waste is probably like the best map to do it on because defending the drops is so important here with the 3rd and main being so close by air. And then also, every engagement is usually through a passageway where your opponent has a really hard time getting great concave. And so the Colossi combined with force fields are very effective against ground forces. But because they're passageways and there's cliffs, Vikings can be really annoying unless you have something as mobile as them to deal with them.
Llusion marching to his opponent's front door is 2 medevacs and Marines. The Observer there from Macsed going to be able to spot this.
Only 1 sentry.
Photon Overcharge needs to be used right away, and 1 sentry is actually a pretty big deal. Again, he lost a couple before, but look at these Marines and Marauders. What does Macsed have to deal with this? Again, making Phoenixes aren't going to do much at all against this.
Llusion just now realized no stim pack, but you know what? I don't even know if he needs it.
Oh my gosh. That's funny.
This game would be over if he had stim pack.
I just assumed he had stim.
Yeah, I did too. I didn't even realize he never researched it. And man, he's got to be so mad at himself now because that game would have been over.
Yep.
Like, everything would have died if he had stim pack there. There's no question about it. Protoss would have been dead. But he forgot stim pack, and he still took actually a pretty good trade there. As far as cost for cost goes, he didn't lose anything medevacs, which might have been oversight of Macsed not targeting them with the Photon Overcharge. But the game's going to go on, and Macsed is now going to have, you know, Colossi range, Phoenix is added into it. Llusion's going to be ahead in upgrades. He's got double E-base. Of course, that's standard. For if a Protoss goes Phoenix Colossi, they're always going to be behind in upgrades because there's so much gas being spent on the Phoenix, on the Colossi, and they always have to have at least 1 or 2 sentries with that composition to make it actually work. And so they just don't have the gas go double forge, you know, early on in the game, at least until they have minimum 6 gases.
We have Llusion incorporating some Hellbats here. We see 2 in production right now, which can be very annoying if you're going for that drop play. But again, the addition of Phoenixes onto the map from Macsed, you know, Llusion I'm pretty sure he knows about this, so he has to be able to recognize that, you know, you got to be careful when you're going for those drops, because if you lose those drops for free, those Phoenixes, it's not going to be fun. But if we're talking about additional uses out of the Phoenix, it's all about that medevac control. If you can keep your medevacs protected by those Marines, those aren't going to be a big issue. But again, the drops, if Macsed can shut those down, you know, who knows how big of an impact that can have on this game.
One thing I'm curious about is the fact that there's no second starport. You know, Llusion did see a couple Phoenix. He saw the Colossus, and so he has to think maybe there's a chance he's using his combination. Most Terrans like to go double starport against this. Of course, the other thing he's doing is you talk about how he's adding Hellbats, and that's really smart against Phoenix Colossi because Phoenix Colossi is so gas intensive, the Protoss can't really get a significant stalker count. So they're going to be very Zealot heavy as far as their meat shield is. And of course, Hellbats are pretty good against Zealots.
Yeah. Dare say might be the direct counter. You know, Macsed just clicked on the Hellbats. He saw it with the observers. He knows what's going on. He even saw it getting loaded up into those medevacs.
Oh, he's going to drop them on the Protoss army.
Ah.
You know, the one thing I'm a little bit worried about, Llusion only has 2 medevacs, so his healing powers are going to be greatly reduced.
There's 4 Colossi.
Yeah, there's 4 Colossi and there's 3 sentries. I don't think there's a timing here for Llusion if Macsed micros well. Force fields are going to tear apart the Bio because it can't be microed with the medevacs, and there's not enough Vikings at all. He scans. Is he actually going to go into this after scanning it?
Go for it. There go the Hellbats. Stim has completed for Llusion, but great force fields from Macsed. The Hellbats trying to get their damage done. The Marauders targeting down the Colossi. Does Llusion have enough to supply? Are fairly even. More Zealot's going to be reinforcing here. Photon Overcharge onto the necklace, but the Phoenixes are going to clean everything up, and Llusion gets shut down.
I cannot believe he scanned the army. I mean, he actually, honestly, Macsed kind of missed a force field there. If Macsed hit that 3rd force field and Marauders couldn't have ran up there and taken out the Colossi, he would have 3 Colossi right now.
Yeah.
And he would just move across the map and win the game. So Llusion, you know, was able to take advantage of that micro slip up. But even with everything going as good as possible, that was still a disaster. He had a 10 supply lead. Now he's down by 15. He lost all of his important units, all the medevacs, all the Vikings, and his opponent has this giant Phoenix Cloud.
Phoenix is going into the main base, taking out some SCVs, and not going to lose any Phoenixes. Of course, they have those shields,
Well
so
played.
turrets aren't going to kill those very fast.
You know, Illusion does have the advantage of having 2 reactored starports. So if he didn't have the 2 starports, he'd basically be out of the game because there's no way he could find a way to deal with the Colossi count. As is, he could try to crank out Vikings like a maniac and catch up to the Phoenix numbers. He also stopped getting Hellbats, which is could just be the decision. He feels Marauders are better.
Sure.
I don't. I mean, Marauders are more mobile. You can sit and run around. It's a little bit tricky because normally the Protoss goes so Zealot heavy with this composition that the Hellbats are actually insanely good. But Macsed saw the Hellbat play, so he's actually just been banking his minerals a little bit and just trying to make his composition more Stalker heavy instead. So he actually is using his Stalkers and just not increasing his supply quite as fast as a reaction to the Hellbats. But now there aren't going to be Hellbats being made, so it's like mind game over mind game over mind game here.
Illusion coming across the map, and
Is he going to do it again?
Macsed continually investing into these Phoenixes, even adding on a +1 weapons
SCVs.
upgrade, adding on the range upgrade.
He's pulling SCVs, but only has 6 Vikings. How is he going to ever make this actually work against the 3 Colossi and billion Phoenix there are?
I'm not sure. Well, this is a little bit of deja vu here. The force field's going down here from Macsed. The Phoenix is coming forward, taking shots at those Vikings. The Colossi trying to be microed back. Illusion desperately trying to get up this ramp, but the force fields are a little bit too good, and 1 Colossus is still alive. All the Vikings are gone. Wow, the Colossus getting sniped down by the Marauders. A great pick off there, but still so many Phoenixes in the air trying to pick up these bio units, and 2 more Vikings joining in on the fun. And Illusion has a supply lead 117 to 96, taking down another Colossus, and he's charging to the natural.
He made it work. I didn't think he would make it up the ramp. I thought the force field would hold him back, but he was able to outweight them, and the Colossi stepped back, so they weren't able to kill the bio. Illusion, he's going to be held, though. There's no medevacs anymore. But I don't even know who's winning this game anymore. I'm so confused about what's going on here.
This is bizarre.
He pulled a lot of SCVs.
And,
he took out the...
huge. No more Colossus.
No more Colossus, and that was Max's only AoE, so as long as he can rebuild some medevacs and up his Marine count to deal with the Phoenix, Illusion should be able to come back in about 2 minutes with an army that Macsed can't stop. He's going to have to go straight to Templar or try to rebuild double Robos, but he's not going to be able to get AoE up in time for attack 2 minutes later. But if Illusion keeps attacking with small forces, the Phoenix may be effective.
Marines Marauders coming forward once again. Phoenix is trying to do as much work as possible, picking up units here, taking down medevacs. And I think, yeah, Macsed should be able to shove this away.
There's just not enough bio to protect the medevacs.
Well,
oh, more bio coming in. This is getting so scrappy here. Marauder flailing in the air.
does he have enough? I keep thinking he does, then I keep thinking he doesn't.
You know, what's working well for Illusion, he has a slight upgrade advantage, and there's no charge quite yet. So, killing the Robo is such a big win for him, because without Colossus, his competition really has so much of the teeth taken out of it. But without Vikings, the bio has a lot of its power, or without medevacs, excuse me, the bio isn't really strong either. Oh, we didn't kill either medevacs, he just used lifts. There's so few bio units, though.
More Stalkers, more sentries being warped in, trying to shove Illusion away.
Oh, and as that last medevac and Viking go down, but wait, more bio comes forward. It's like coming. Here come more SCVs. And SCVs may be the tipping point, actually, if they can get in front of these units. Oh, great force field, though, keeps SCVs behind damage dealers.
Yeah, trying to engage the SCVs and using the Marauders behind them to get that damage done. Macsed warping in 4 more Zealots here, and I think is he remaking his Colossus? Yeah, he's trying to remake that Colossus.
I feel Macsed is going to hold as soon as that Colossus pops out. But, well, 5 Marauders now. If that Colossus doesn't have a meat shield.
Oh, targeting down the Robo,
Oh,
no. Colossus is so close. No, it does not get out. Seconds away from popping. Pros being pulled to try to help this out. Macsed desperately trying to stay alive. Charge is now done. Illusion not taking a fork. He wants to win right
Illusion's
now.
up to 4 medevacs now. This is the point where if 4 medevacs with buyout can usually keep the healing rate. But wait, another medevac goes down. The Phoenix is doing their job yet again.
Medevacs need to be in the back. Macsed trying to
Oh
target
no, the
those guys
mothership
down.
core goes down. He needed that to get energy to get a photon overcharge. I think it's a tipping point. I think Illusion is starting to do it, man.
Macsed desperately trying to hold for so long, and Illusion dropping the mules. There's the game 1 victory, a game that started with a push that we thought was going to win it until we realized Illusion didn't have stim, and he realized it too.
He started in the middle of that push. He's like, oh no, what
He
have I
hits
done?
T on his Marines around. He's like, wait, why aren't you guys losing health?
Yeah,
What's going on?
And he clearly thought he did. No, wait, I mean, no one goes for those timings without stim, and he could have had stim
Yeah.
at that point. He just forgot to research it. So there was that point, and the Marines can't run down to Colossus because they don't have stim. So that was a little bit unfortunate. He tries to use the medevacs to lift units on top of the Colossus, but again, without stim, the damage output isn't there, and photon overcharge forces him back. And then the game went to like multiple SCV pushes where I was like, Macsed is going to cut the army in half with force fields and it's going to all die. But then somehow the army didn't die, and the Vikings, even though they went down, were able to kill enough Colossi.
Right.
I don't even know what is going on.
It's such a bizarre game.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to watch that over again, at least the replay. But pretty awesome stuff we're seeing for sure, guys. We're just getting started with this best of 3 between Illusion and Macsed. Illusion taking the early lead 1-0. Stay tuned. Game 2 coming up.